How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the MiraCLE podcast. My name is Kyle, and I hate cheesecake. Now, what does that have to do with sports or football? Absolutely nothing. But I figured that's something that you guys should know about me, because that's probably a deal breaker for a lot of people. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and feel free to hit that dislike button and actually just throw your whole computer away if you really are passionate enough about what I just said. But, all right, I'm an idiot. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the Browns. We're going to go over that Browns-Rams game real fast. So listen, I think we played well, right? We played well, considering the fact that the Rams were supposed to cream us. I mean, they were supposed to just pulverize us, and we only lost by 7, and we had a chance to win the game, right? And I think that's what's frustrating for a lot of people, is that we were in the game and we easily could have won it, but we came up short like we always do. And I think that's what a lot of people are upset about. We lost 20-13 for those who have been living under a rock or maybe had a date at the Cheesecake Factory during the game. I don't know. But we lost 20-13, had a chance to tie the game up with less than 2 minutes to go, and we came up short. We were at the 4-yard line for 4 downs in a row. We were at the 4-yard line, and we couldn't convert that into a touchdown after 4 downs. And those 4 downs are what people are the most mad about, myself included, because, again, you're at the 4-yard line. Nick Chubb is having a good game, and he's Nick Chubb, right? I've talked about him before. I'm going to talk about him all the time because I love him as a football player. He's a football player. He breaks a lot of tackles. He's a great running back. And to not give him the ball at least one time at the 4-yard line when you need to tie the game with less than 2 minutes to go is absolutely criminal. So everyone's obviously going to take issue with that. And then in addition to that, you're not even looking to give OBJ the football. I don't think he was targeted on any of those 4 plays. So the play calling is obviously already suspect. I don't even want to talk about the 4th and 9 draw play. Listen, where were we at? We were at about midfield, 4th and 9. Everyone thought we were just going to try to draw the Rams off sides, with, myself included. I thought that was what was going to happen also. And then when we actually hiked the football, I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this. We can maybe get 9 yards. I'm not as mad about the draw play as most people, because you figure you go for it, you get an incomplete, you figure you pass the ball on 4th and 9. If you don't complete it, you're turning the ball over at midfield. I forget exactly where we were, but it was really close to midfield. So you turn the ball over at about the 50-yard line. If you run that draw play, you get a few yards. And you turn the ball over a few more yards into their territory, which obviously is a little bit better. We should have punted the football. That was the right play, is to punt the football. However, I'm not totally upset about the draw play on 4th and 9, because obviously they weren't expecting it. Nick Chubb was having a decent game. I don't trust Baker at this point to make a good throw to get all 9 yards. So your 2 options were either punt the football. I take that back. I was going to say your 2 options are either to punt the football or run the football, but that's actually a really stupid thing of me to say because I'm a moron. But that's about to become my new motto, because I'm pretty sure I said that in the first episode as well. Anyway, you should have punted the football, but I'm not totally upset about the fact that he ran a draw play on 4th and 9. Yeah, it's silly, and yeah, maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. But they weren't expecting it. The Rams weren't. That's not a play they would be expecting, and that is definitely a play that if it had gotten the first down, no one would be even talking about. No one would be asking Freddie, hey, why'd you run a draw plan 4th and 9? Yeah, it worked out, but, was that good play calling, or did you just get lucky? Whatever. So I think that is one of those plays that just didn't go in our favor. Again, it wasn't the right call in the first place, but if you're talking about what play to run on 4th and 9, I'm not as upset about that as I am about the 4 pass plays in a row that we ran at the 4-yard line with the game on the line. So, feel how you want about it, but I don't think that's big picture. I don't think that's as much of an issue. I mean, it is an issue, in terms of Freddie Kitchens maybe not making the right calls as a head coach, not running the right plays, but I think we have bigger fish to fry, so to speak. But that game, you got to take a lot of things into consideration. We were without our entire starting secondary. So that being considered, we held the Rams to 3 points in the first half? I forget what the score was at halftime because I forget everything. But I mean, we held them to 20 points the entire game. I think it was 6-6 going into halftime, maybe. But regardless, we held them to 20 points the entire game, and the Rams have one of the best offenses in the entire league, probably top 5. Most would argue. I think most would agree, actually, that they're a top 5 offense in the league. And to hold them to 20 points without our entire starting secondary or Christian Kirksey, who is being replaced by a rookie linebacker, a stud rookie linebacker, mind you, because I think Mac Wilson is a god, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the rest of the season because I don't know how long Christian Kirksey is going to be out. But nonetheless, for that defense to only give up 20 points to the Rams is an amazing feat. And we played our minds out on that side of the ball. Our offense just couldn't keep up, and our offense couldn't help us out. Between the play calling and Baker playing just terrible these first few games, and the offensive line not being good. Okay, I'll get to the offensive line in a second. But we played a good game, especially on defense, all things considered. Our team as a whole played a great game, and we fought hard, and we showed a lot of heart. I think the game lies on 2 people, and you know which 2 people I'm talking about. Freddie Kitchens and Baker Mayfield. Those guys are the only reason that our team lost that game. And that sucks. And that's kind of what is annoying, is that your whole team can play really, really well against a great team, but then you lose because of 2 people, one of which isn't even on the field. So that's what I'm bothered by. Because Freddie Kitchens was not only was he not making good play calls, he wasn't calling good plays or making good decisions, but one of the things I'm most mad about is we had 40 seconds to go in the game and it was 4th down and goal. And we had all 3 timeouts and he used one of them. As soon as he used that timeout, I was losing my mind in front of that TV because yeah, you can use that timeout to take your time and think of a good play to run, and then hopefully that extra timeout and that extra time will give you will yield a good play call that gets you in the end zone and ties the game, assuming your kicker makes it, which is neither here nor there. But you got to think of the risk reward. Yeah, you're getting an extra 30, 60 seconds to think of a play call that can win you the game. But if you don't get it, there's still 40 seconds left and you have 3 timeouts. You just need 1 3 and out. If you stop them on all 3 downs, yeah, you're not going to have a lot of time left, but you'll get the ball back with good field position. Because, they would have been inside their own 5-yard line. If we stopped them on all 3 downs and made them punt, they would have been punting from their own end zone probably. So we would have gotten the ball at what, midfield with, I don't know, let's say 25 seconds to go. The fact that he didn't save all 3 timeouts in case we didn't get the 4th and goal is what infuriated me, arguably the most. Yeah, I'm mad that we didn't convert and we didn't score to tie the game. But again, what I think I'm mad about a lot of things, obviously. But one of the things I'm most mad about is that he used a timeout, which eventually sealed the game. He should have saved all 3 timeouts just in case you don't convert and just in case you are able to get a stop on defense. You get the ball back with 25 seconds left. That's not a lot of time, but it gives you a chance at least. So you're basically either scoring or you give yourself a chance to score later if you save the timeouts. But Freddie Kitchens used the 3rd timeout, thus it's all or nothing on this one 4th and goal play, and we obviously know how that ended up. So I don't like that decision to use the timeout because then you left 2 on the field anyway. You're leaving 2 timeouts on the field, and I don't like to leave timeouts on the field when the game is that close. But that's just me. And then as far as Baker goes, man, I don't know what the deal is. Okay. I'll transition. We'll talk a little bit about the O-line. Baker, I don't know what his deal was, but I think this was his worst game because he wasn't making accurate throws. He wasn't going through his progression, it didn't seem like, most of the time. Most of the time, I felt like he was staring down one guy, and then whether that guy was open or not, he would throw him the ball. To take the end of the game situation, for example. We all know, and Baker even said so himself, he had Jarvis Landry wide open underneath for the touchdown. Now, he was tightly covered, so, there's speculation as to whether or not he would have actually caught it. But it's Jarvis Landry. He has great hands, and I think if Baker put that ball in there right, he would have caught it for a touchdown. But instead, he decides to throw it to Demetrius Harris in the back of the end zone, which I hate back of the end zone passes, when he was double covered. And I don't care if he's 6'6", he's double covered in the back of the end zone. It's a low percentage play, I think. Unless he's one-on-one, that might be different. But usually if you're one-on-one, you're in the corner of the end zone, not the back of the end zone where there's probably the most traffic. So that's just one example of many. But he wasn't going through his progressions or making good reads. He was just kind of focused on one guy, and then he threw that guy the football regardless of how well he was covered. So I don't like that. He doesn't know how to throw the ball away this year for some reason. Last year, one of the things that made him great was we had a good offensive line, which helps, obviously. But last year, if he was getting pressured, he would roll outside the pocket, keep his eyes down the field, and continue to make good reads. And either throw the ball away or, in a lot of cases, make a spectacular play and somehow get the ball to somebody. But this year, he's not doing that. He's either staying in the pocket too long, or if he escapes the pocket, he's not throwing the ball away. Either way, he's not throwing the ball away, but you can't throw the ball away inside the pocket. So you know what I mean. But if he's getting pressured, he won't scramble. He'll stay in the pocket and just hold on to the ball until either somebody gets open or he gets sacked. And I don't like that. And then there were times in this game where he was totally fine, and the pocket was good, and he wasn't being pressured, and he scrambled outside of the pocket anyway, and that made things worse. That caused problems, because obviously why would you go outside the pocket when it's not collapsing? And part of that is probably the offensive line's fault. He's probably used to his internal clock being lower. So instead of, 3 or 4 seconds, it's 1 or 2 seconds before he starts to scramble. So maybe that's the offensive line's fault for throwing off his internal clock. And maybe he just assumes that he has to start scrambling after 2 seconds. But either way, you got to pay attention. You got to focus, and you got to, as a quarterback in the NFL, you have to know whether or not you're being pressured. So for him to stay in the pocket when he is getting pressured and to roll outside the pocket when he's not getting pressured was an extremely frustrating thing that he did all night. All night. And he didn't do that a whole lot in the first 2 games. But I don't know what it was about this game. And again, you have your offensive line and the Rams' defensive line. So yeah, maybe things are a little bit different up front, considering they have the best player in the entire football league in Aaron Donald. But I don't know what's going on with Baker, but I hope he can figure it out. I don't know if he's just having a sophomore slump, or maybe they're still kind of working on chemistry issues, or he's, learning new plays or what. I mean, it's Freddie Kitchens calling the plays, so I would imagine they're not much different. But with that being said, I suppose it was Hugh Jackson's playbook, and Freddie was calling them from there. So maybe he's working with a new set of plays, a new playbook, a little bit new personnel, dealing with those offensive lines. So, I mean, there's factors, but I don't think there's enough factors for him to go from how he was playing last year to how he's playing this year so far. So I hope they can figure it out. And right now I'm being pessimistic. I'll definitely get more optimistic as the podcast goes on. But those are kind of my thoughts on the game for now. And so just to talk about the offensive line real quick, we all know it's suspect. We all know it's bad. I talked about it in the last episode. But I think they played well on Sunday, all things considered, because, again, you have a great defensive line on the Rams, and you also have Aaron Donald, who's the best player in the league, let alone the best defensive player or the best defensive lineman. So I think we held our own. And you also have to throw in the fact that he's getting double teamed on almost every play, so that frees up a lot of other guys. And I think overall that might have been our offensive line's best game. I think a lot of it was Baker's fault. I think the sacks were his fault for either not scrambling or for scrambling too early, which, you can't control where your quarterback goes as an offensive lineman. So I think a lot of the pressures and the sacks more so fell on Baker than they did on the offensive line. I think they played pretty well. Maybe some of you disagree with me. Maybe some of you hate my guts and want to show up to my place with torches and pitchforks because I said the offensive line played well. I don't know. But regardless, that's my opinion. So I think they did well. We'll see how well they play as the season goes on. And we'll also see if we get Chris Hubbard back, because I don't know who I like at right tackle more, him or Justin McCray. I think Justin McCray played better in that one game than Chris Hubbard did in either of the first 2. But, I guess I have to trust Freddie and with whoever he puts in there, because, I suppose it's hard to say to trust him now, but I'm not done on Freddie Kitchens, So I'm going to trust that coaching staff like I always do, whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision. And I'm going to trust them with whoever they put in there, So we'll see what happens with that, with the offensive line, and whether or not McCray starts or Hubbard starts, what have you. But all I care about is that we protect Baker. That way, if the issues he's having are because of the offensive line, then those go away. And then we can just blame him. Maybe just blaming Baker is worse. Right now we have excuses, but if the offensive line plays well and he doesn't, then don't know what excuse you could use. But hopefully we get that figured out. So, as I record this, and that's something I didn't talk about either, is the injury. Well, I did talk about the injuries, actually. Yeah, you were without Rashard Higgins, you were without Chris Hubbard, you were without the starting secondary, Christian Kirksey, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that was all 7 of our starters. So yeah, unless I guess maybe Rashard Higgins isn't a starter. I'm not totally sure, but you get the idea. So far this week, we have Demarius Randall back, which is huge for our defense, especially against the Ravens offense. Coming up this week, Sunday, 1 o'clock. So that's a huge, arguably our biggest injured returner, I suppose. I don't really know how else to word that, but that's definitely probably the biggest guy we have coming back is Demarius Randall, because we all know how good he is and how well he's played. So that's going to be big. And then pretty much everybody else is day to day, including Rashard Higgins, Greedy Williams, Denzel Ward. I think Chris Hubbard is also day to day. And then who else am I missing? Christian Kirksey is obviously going to be out for a while, which we have Mac Wilson in there, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And I like Mac Wilson getting to play now. That way he can potentially take over. I think if Christian Kirksey doesn't get traded at the end of this season, then he'll be traded next season. I mean, we all love Christian Kirksey. He's one of the longest tenured Browns on the team. He's a great guy, great player. But, I mean, if we have Mac Wilson in there, what are you doing with two starting linebackers in the same position, I don't want to trade Kirksey. I think it would be awesome to have Schobert, Mac Wilson, and Kirksey starting at linebacker. But I don't know. And I guess I'm not saying that Christian Kirksey will be traded sometime within the next 2 seasons. I'm just saying it's a good possibility, I think, if Mac Wilson balls out like he has been. So I guess that's a possibility. But anyway, I'm hoping we can get at least half our starters back. Rashard Higgins would be great because that'll open up the playbook a lot for Mayfield. Higgins and Mayfield seem to have really good chemistry, probably the best out of the rest of the wide receivers, I think. They have really good rapport. He seems to go to Higgins a lot, which makes sense because if you're watching OBJ and Jarvis on every play, then Higgins is going to be open a lot. So hopefully we can get him back. Maybe one of our corners, Denzel Ward or Greedy Williams. I'd be fine with either of those guys. I'm not going to ask for too much by asking for both back, for both my starting cornerbacks to be healthy, but I think getting one of them back would be good. If we don't get Morgan Burnett back, that's fine. I mean, obviously he's the best player. He's the best option at safety, so I do want him back. But if we don't get him back, then we have Jermaine Whitehead, Eric Murray, and Justin Burris, who played a great game last week, especially with that interception. So you got to think of opportunity cost. If I have a choice between which one I want back, I'm not taking Morgan Burnett because the next best option, whoever of those three it is going to be good. But the next best option at cornerback is TJ Carey. I guess it'll be either Greedy or Denzel, and then the second string would be Terrence Mitchell. But not a huge fan of TJ Carey. I think he's kind of suspect. So Morgan Burnett, if we're without him, that's okay. If we're without Chris Hubbard, I think that's okay. Really, all I want back, the only people I want back, I think we need back. I mean, I want everybody back and healthy, but the main people who we need healthy at this point are one of our starting cornerbacks, Greedy or Denzel. And I guess does Greedy even start? I guess I'm not totally sure. I know he starts. I know he is in there a lot and he gets a lot of plays, but I guess I don't know if he's a starter over Terrence Mitchell. He definitely will be by the end of the season, but I guess I don't know if he is now, but you get the idea. One of them, and then Rashard Higgins, I guess. So I'm really only asking for 2 people. So if we can we had 7 starters injured. We already have 1 back. So out of the 6 that are still injured, I'm only asking for 1. I guess that's not... Well, okay, and if you get rid of Christian Kirksey, then you have 5 that could come back who are day-to-day. So I'm asking for 2 out of 5. I don't think that's too much to ask, but maybe we get them all back. That'd be awesome. That would be awesome if we got all 5 back. But as I've come to learn in my relatively short life, you can't win them all. And I don't expect us to. So, anyway, looking ahead to this upcoming week, we're obviously on the road against the Ravens, Sunday, 1 o'clock, like I said. I don't know, man. That's going to be close. Because, we played as well as we did against the Rams, which I didn't think we had a chance. I thought we would score some points, but it wouldn't be close, especially as close as it was. But now that we played as well as we did against the Rams, I think we have a great chance to beat the Ravens, and I think we will. I mean, it's just hard to say because this team has been so up and down, and we could either play really well or we could play really bad. And you just don't really know what you're getting, which is also very hard to deal with as a Browns fan because if you're bad, at least you know you're going to be bad and you're consistently bad, and then winning and playing well is a nice little surprise and a nice treat. Or like last year, the second half of last year, we were winning and we were playing really well, and it was nice to kind of know like, oh, we're going to win this game, but we'll probably lose this game. That's not the case this year. This year, we could win any game we play, or we could lose any game we play. And so that's kind of hard to deal with as a fan, especially a Browns fan. So I have no idea what's going to happen this week. We're on the road. I mean, the Ravens have been playing really well. They only have one loss to the Chiefs, and they only lost to the Chiefs by, 5? And Lamar Jackson is a baller, dude. He is playing so well. I watched that Chiefs-Ravens game last week, and man, he broke so many people's ankles. He was making good throws. He looked like a quarterback, an NFL quarterback. So, and that's scary when you figured the Ravens were just a running team because their quarterback can't throw. But now he's not great at throwing. Let's be honest, but he can throw now. They can run pass plays. So, and their defense is pretty good, especially when you throw them up against our offense, which is currently in shambles. So, it's going to be real close, I think. I say it's going to be real close, but then part of me also thinks that it could absolutely be a blowout, considering the Ravens are at home and they've been playing this well, and we're still kind of figuring things out. But if we didn't play this well against the Rams, I would absolutely say that the Ravens game is a blowout and we lose by a lot. But because we played well against the Rams and we were just like essentially one or two play calls away from winning the game, or even just one or two good reads by Baker away from winning the game, I say that the Ravens game is not a blowout and that it's actually pretty close. It's just hard to say if we'll win. You know, I'm gonna maybe it's not a bold prediction, but I think that it might be a bold prediction just because the Ravens are as good as they are and we're on the road and we've been playing like dog poop. I think we do win. I think this is maybe this is our coming out game for the season. Maybe this is the game where we play really well. We do everything right. Everything kind of clicks, and we finally get it together against our division rivals, who are also currently first place in the AFC North. Who, if we beat, we get first place in the AFC North. Because they're 2-1, we're 1-2. If we win, then we're both 2-2, and we have the head-to-head tiebreaker. So we're one game away from being first place in the AFC North. And I think that if we were to win this game, that kind of sets a good tone for the rest of the season. Forget these first 3 games. If we win this game against the Ravens, I think we're good to go for the rest of the season. Unless we just get super lucky and then, everything else goes terribly wrong the rest of the season. But I think that this has great potential to be our coming out game, and that if we win, it has really strong implications for the rest of the season. So I'm hoping for the best. I think we'll win, but it's going to be a real close one. I guess I'm hoping we win more than I think we'll win, which means my prediction is a little biased. But I think we win. That'll be my official prediction. So... And here's the thing, my thoughts on the whole team, just in general, I'm not going to be one of those people that is like, oh, fire Freddie or hand over the play calling duties or take out Baker or do whatever. I trust this team and I trust the process. It's just, and I'm still on board with them. I still back Freddie Kitchens. I still back Baker Mayfield. There's going to be ups and downs. It's a new team, kind of, a new head coach. There's a lot of moving parts. So I'm still with them, but it still is frustrating to see us play how we've played and to go from how we played last year to how we played this year. But I support the Browns. Always have, always will. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that come with that for sure. But they're my team, and I'm gonna back them. I'm gonna support them. I believe in them. I trust them. I really hope we can figure it out sooner rather than later. So that's where I'm at with that. Moving on to news around the NFL. You got Jalen Ramsey. He doesn't want to play in Jacksonville. And he's not going to play this week because apparently he's having his second child. Which I say apparently because I feel like he's just kind of using it as an excuse. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But he's on his way out of there. It's going to be interesting to see who gives first. Because if they don't want to trade him but he doesn't play, then you kind of have to cut your losses there. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. You have Saquon Barkley getting hurt, going to be out for 4 to 8 weeks, I believe, with a high ankle sprain. RIP fantasy players. That really sucks and probably hurts them more than it hurts anybody else because now that you have Daniel Jones in at QB, Giants are looking real good. And of course, it helps a rookie quarterback having one of the best running backs in the league in his backfield. But you're gonna hopefully play some good football regardless, and you'll get him back towards later in the season. And I don't think the Giants are making the playoffs anytime soon. So while it does suck, at least I guess it really does suck because you lost one really good player and you're getting another one at quarterback. I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too if you're the Giants. What can you do, And then a big one coming out of Los Angeles, Melvin Gordon is coming back to the Chargers. So, the NFL giveth and the NFL taketh away. You get rid of one good running back, you get another. Some people lose Saquon, and that sucks for fantasy. And then others finally get Melvin Gordon back. Considering if you took Melvin Gordon, you were taking a very big risk, but he's coming back. So the Chargers are not only going to be much better, maybe not much better, because Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson have been playing really well, I think. But, you're going to get marginally better with Melvin Gordon coming back to play. So, and then obviously people who have him in fantasy, like I said, they're going to start winning some games. Maybe. I don't know. So, I guess all that's left to do is go over my predictions for this week. Last week I went 11-5. I didn't make a prediction on last week's Thursday Night Football game because the podcast went up after that game. So I counted it as a loss. And with that, I went 11-5 on the week. So let's keep that train rolling. Maybe it's a good omen for the Browns. Let's see here. NFL this week. So today we have the Eagles at the Packers, on Thursday Night Football. I'm going to give it to the Packers. I think they win at home. They've been playing real well, and I think they win that game. Then you have, starting on Sunday at 1 o'clock, you got the Redskins at the Giants, giving that one to Danny Dimes and the Giants all the way. You got a battle of the undefeateds, Chiefs at Lions. Somehow the Lions are 3-0. Don't know how that happened, but it did nonetheless. Lions are going to take their first L of the season, though, in that one. Got the Titans at the Falcons. I'm giving that one to the Falcons. I think they'll win that. Then you have the Raiders at the Colts. I'm going to give it to the Colts. They've been playing real well, and I predicted they would lose last week, so I don't think I'm going to do that this week. Another battle of the undefeateds, Patriots at the Bills. At least I think the Bills are still undefeated. Yeah, Bills are still undefeated. So they're 3-0, so that's a battle of the undefeateds there. Unfortunately, the Bills are going to take their first L of the season at home, which kind of stinks. But there's not much you can do when the Patriots are a god-tier team. So Patriots win that one. Then you got Panthers at Texans. So the Panthers, they won last week with Cam Newton out. But I think I'm still taking the Texans at home. That one's going to be close, I think, but I guess I have to go with the Texans. This is going to be funny. Chargers at Dolphins. I'm sorry, Dolphins. You're having a rough year, and it's not about to get any better. You're going to lose, especially if the Chargers get Melvin Gordon back, who I believe is, I think he reports today. Oh, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you have to report by Wednesday to be eligible. I'm not totally sure how that works, and I'm not going to look too far into it. But maybe they don't. I think they know it. No, I remember. I looked on ESPN Fantasy Football. That's clearly where I get all my NFL information. I don't think Melvin Gordon is going to play this week. Pretty sure he's only going to be playing next week, because I think he does report today, Thursday, and you have to report on Wednesday to be eligible for the games. So he'll be eligible for next week's game. At any rate, it doesn't matter. The Chargers are going to beat the Dolphins. I don't even think it'll be close. The Buccaneers at Rams. Rams are going to win that one. Seahawks at Cardinals. Seahawks. Vikings at Bears. That'll be a good one. Dude, the NFC North is stacked this year. I think, big picture, long term, the Lions are the worst team in that division. And yet they're 3-0. So the Vikings, Bears, Lions, who are 3-0, and the Packers, you have a stacked division this year. So that's going to be real fun to watch, especially when it comes playoff time, because not all four of them can make it. Although, well, technically, I guess they could. There's four. Well, no, they couldn't. That's impossible. Only three of the max could make it, because you would have to have the four division leaders make the playoffs and then two teams from the NFC North. So it's unlikely that more than two of them in that division will make the playoffs, but it's possible that three of them could. But I ramble too much about when it comes to these predictions, man. The point is the NFC North is going to be real fun to watch. I haven't even given a prediction for this game yet. Do you guys even remember which two teams are playing? Because if I didn't have it in front of me right now, I wouldn't. But it's the Vikings at the Bears. The Vikings. I'll give it to the Vikings. Probably going to take an L on that one, though. I'll let you know next week. We're into the 4 o'clock games, by the way. So 4 o'clock games, we have Bucks at Rams, Seahawks at Cardinals, Vikings at Bears, Jaguars at Broncos. I'm going to give that to the Jags, man. Gardner Minshew is a beast. I don't think I'm going to say the Jaguars don't lose a game the rest of the season. Gardner Minshew is too good, man. He's the man. Just an absolute unit at quarterback for the Jags. So I'm gonna say the Jags beat the Broncos for that reason specifically. Sunday Night Football 8:20. You got Cowboys at Saints. That is difficult. It's so difficult to make predictions without Drew Brees. I say the Cowboys win. And didn't the Cowboys beat them last year? The Cowboys beat one of the good NFC teams last year. I don't remember if it was the Saints or the Rams, but I think it was the Saints. I say they win again. Yeah, Cowboys beat the Saints on Sunday Night Football. And then last game of the week, Monday Night Football, 8:15. You got the Bengals at the Steelers. Oh, that's going to be so boring and terrible to watch. Both teams are 0-3, right? I know the Steelers are. The Bengals are also 0-3. Awesome. 2 winless teams battling it out on Monday Night Football. You can't ask for anything better. Obviously. Sometimes I don't understand what goes through people's minds when they schedule these games. I mean, I know you have to schedule some bad games, but they have not done a good job lately. Whatever. I don't work in the NFL, and I don't make the schedules for a reason, so what the heck do I know? Bengals at Steelers. I think the Bengals win, actually. And being a Browns fan, I hate the Steelers, so yeah, I'm going to give that to the Bengals. I think that'd be awesome to see, and I'm going to root for them all the way. So those are your Week 4 predictions in the NFL. Oh, I'm an idiot. I didn't even give the Browns prediction. I mean, I did. I said the Browns would win, but I didn't give a score. I say the Browns win 27-24. That's my final prediction for the Browns versus Ravens game. But that about does it for me. I'm getting ever so closer to uploading these things on Wednesdays. I mean, I know we're only 2 episodes in, but I wanted to do them on Wednesdays, and I said I would do them on Wednesdays, so hopefully next week we can actually make that happen, and I can get my act together. So that's going to be the plan. But thanks for tuning in and for listening. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys hopefully next Wednesday. Thanks, and go Browns.